Everything in the entire world is based on a cycle, even productivity and even burnout. Look, everything is cyclical. Seasons are cyclical, our work lives are cyclical, even the life and death cycle that our world is founded on is, well, cyclical. But for some reason, we think of productivity as a straight line where our output needs to be firing on all cylinders at all times. And that only leads to exhaustion. In this video, I want to talk to you about what the productivity cycle actually is and give you 3 tips for how you can tailor it to your personal energy so that you can achieve your goals without burning out.
I want to introduce you to the first ever productivity cycle, which was the seasonal cycle. And in the seasonal cycle, we have, of course, spring, summer, fall, and winter. And these create a consistent and never-ending cycle from one season to the next. We all think of the seasonal cycle in tandem with the natural world. So we're going to talk about this metaphorically here for a second. In the spring, what do you do in the natural world? Well, you plant seeds. If you're trying to grow something, you plant seeds, right? In a productivity context, this might be planning and preparation. If planting a seed is equivalent to planning a project, our productivity cycle starts to take shape. Then the summer comes, there are longer days, more sunlight, more energy, and the seeds you planted start to grow. In our productivity context, we are going to be working on the projects and goals that we planned and prepped in spring. Now in the fall, the days are going to become shorter, right? The energy from summer starts to fade and the harvest comes. In our productivity context, harvesting is finishing the projects and goals that we're working on and taking stock of our accomplishments. We all know that the leaves die in autumn because the sun is going away and the energy is being sapped out of the earth. Well, it's the same with our projects. We can work on them and have a big burst of energy, but eventually they will start to come to a close. By harvesting here, we are reaping the rewards of all of our hard work in summer when we were working really hard on our projects and goals. Now we get to take stock of the accomplishments, feel good, and finish a few things. And lastly, in winter, it is the dark days. There is not as much sun. It's in fact the opposite amount of sun as in summer. The nights are longer than the days. It's cold outside. Plants are not growing in this season, and neither are projects. In a productivity context, this is the time when we want to rest and recuperate and evaluate the work that we put into the rest of the year. Now, the seasonal cycle doesn't ever skip from fall to spring, right? Plants don't die and then just decide, oh, I'm not going to pay attention to winter. I'm going to go straight to flowering for the spring. So why do we? I see so many people go through this cycle, but completely bypass winter and try to go straight from fall into spring. They plan and prep projects, work really hard, finish those projects, and then go right back into planning and preparation. They completely miss the rest and recuperation stage. They completely miss the opportunity for evaluation, and they continue on this 3-pronged cycle that doesn't give them any opportunity to take a step back. If you try to make an endless spring, summer, fall of your productivity routine, you will burn out. So how can we use this productivity cycle model and avoid burning out? Right? Sometimes there are expectations on us, especially in work environments, or expectations that come from our culture or family, that we will not rest. Sometimes rest is vilified. Sometimes rest is seen as a sign of weakness. So we can often feel the pressure to keep up this spring, summer, fall cycle and force ourselves into burnout. But to avoid this, we need to first find the productivity cycle that makes sense for our lives. So a year is a great place to start, right? Start to identify where spring, summer, fall, and winter naturally show up in your life. So for example, for me, I work in academia, right? I work at a university. So my productivity cycle actually looks like this. I will start my cycle for academia in August or September. This means at work, we are prepping, planning, preparing all of the content we will need for the rest of the year. That is my spring. Then the fall and spring semesters constitute my summer, quote unquote, which means that we are acting out all of the plans we prepared in August and September, all of the events, all of the marketing, all of the acceptance letters, everything goes on there. And then in May, at the end of the spring semester, things are coming to a close. We have our big finale, we have commencement. So we work really, really hard here to get to May when we go out with a bang and move on to our June and July period where we can rest and evaluate. most of my coworkers, including me, take vacation in June or July because campus is dead, students are not on campus, we don't really need as much staff in the office as we would during these busier times of the year. So this is when we are resting, taking a break from work, and then also evaluating our performance during the year, so that once it comes to August and September again, we have more information, more data to start planning the coming semester. Try to identify what your macro cycle is like this. Of course, almost all of us live through an actual spring, summer, fall, and winter period. I mean, I live in Southern California, so winter is like 2 weeks of rain. But still, almost all of us will be familiar with this cycle. Try to identify the natural workflow of your year in terms of how your productivity is expected to show up. So this might be by your day job, like mine is here on this academic cycle, or maybe this is controlled by your kids' school, right? Which is also an academic cycle. Maybe it's controlled a little bit differently like that. Or maybe you work in corporate and actually winter is your busiest time because you're trying to meet deadlines in December for yearly goals. Basically just map out what you think is the general period of time in which you will have your preparation period, your action period, your ending period, and your rest period, because then you are able to identify what time during the year can I take time off, can I rest, can I get a full-on break from everything else I am doing.
I want to hop in here real quick and thank today's sponsor, Parade. If you've ever wondered what underwear would feel like if it were actually comfortable, you need to check out Parade. Their products are soft, stretchy, durable, inclusive, sustainable, and all for a way more affordable price than traditional underwear brands. In particular, I really like their Plunge Longline Bralette. I got it in the color Pony, which is this kind of like purplish brown. It's really pretty. I wear a lot of bralettes, so I am pretty picky about the ones that I accept into my underwear drawer, but this one has all the things that I love. It's a plunge shape, so I really get a lot of coverage and support, plus it's so soft and comfortable. You could basically do anything in it. Go to the gym, go to sleep. It's an all-purpose bralette. And since it's summer right now, I'm also wearing a lot of dresses and outfits where you do not want underwear lines to show through. So I also picked up some of their seamless sculpt boy shorts. The fabric here is so silky and smooth, it doesn't show under anything I'm wearing, no matter the occasion, which is exactly what you want. I love that it's high-rise too, so you don't get that cut in the middle of your stomach. It just keeps all my clothing and all my outfits looking neat and seamless. So if any of this sounds up your alley, head to the link in my description box below for a 50% off site-wide discount when you use my code THEORY50. Thanks again to Parade for sponsoring.
Then, once you have identified where your winter is, you want to make winter non-negotiable. And this is step 2. I don't have to take a vacation in June or July. I could just work through that period anyway. But it is such a good opportunity to fit in a time when I can rest and get away from my job that I need to make this period non-negotiable for myself. I need to take vacation there because taking a relaxing vacation during the rest of the year when things are busy and bosses are demanding things of you is not always going to be possible. This is the best opportunity for me to feel rested and relaxed. So I am always going to take a vacation during that period of time because I know if I don't, I risk burning myself out in these periods of time. If you don't do this, you will burn out. And my favorite way to visualize this is like this. So obviously this moves in a cycle, but we perceive time linearly. So we perceive time like this, right? And this represents the cycle in sort of ups and downs. Up here we have summer, and down here we have winter, right? Spring represents the peak up, fall represents the drop down. So we experience a cycle like this. When we experience these dips, it enables us to have strong rest periods that let our bodies have a break. If we don't do this, what is going to happen? Let's say we go up and then we stay up and we stay in summer. Maybe we have little periods where we're like, projects are ending and we're planning and then we're up, projects are ending and then we're planning and then we're up. And then what happens? When you don't give yourself rest or break, at some point, if you don't give yourself a rest or a break, at some point, your body will take it for you. And then we're way down here, burnt out. You're not giving yourself any time to rest in between. So the fall that comes here is super hard and you just crash out at rock bottom. What happens for me is that I'll be super productive. I won't give myself an opportunity to rest. Maybe I get a little anxious. Maybe I don't get enough sleep during this period of like ending a cycle and starting a new one right away. I'm kind of productive and then I keep doing it and I still feel a little bad. I feel a little anxious. My mental health is not so good. I keep doing it. And then when I get to rock bottom, burning out, it's almost always like a debilitating 2-week illness that forces me out of the productivity cycle. Because, say it with me, if you don't take breaks, your body will take them for you. You will get physically sick. You'll become mentally ill. You'll get irritated really easily. You'll stop enjoying life altogether until you can get that much needed rest. And at some point, your body will force it upon you. So I hope you can see how taking these mini rests in between higher periods of productivity and honoring the actual cycle really, really is necessary, because otherwise this burnout down here is just going to be really debilitating. So the last thing to do to make sure that you don't burn out is to recognize both the maximum cycles on the yearly level and the minimum cycles on maybe the daily or the weekly schedule and honor them both. Each day within it also has a spring, summer, fall, winter, right? We can imagine it like sleeping is winter. We're fully resting. Morning is spring. Daytime is summer. Evening is fall. And then nighttime or sleeping is winter. And this sort of goes around and around. And we need to make sure in this cycle, we are still getting rest. This is why in lots of my videos, I emphasize sleep as a really, really important thing to do and not sacrifice at all. Because when you sacrifice your sleep, you literally disable yourself. I once read a study that like someone going off of 18 hours with no sleep, which is literally not that much. That's like only a few hours beyond what normal people get of waking hours in a day. But if you go 18 hours without sleep, so that means you're sleeping 6 hours a night, it's like being drunk behind the wheel. It's that level of confusion your brain suffers when you don't get enough sleep. So on a daily level, having a period of nighttime rest where you're just relaxing and not doing anything productive, just doing what your heart tells you, and then making sure you get that sleep is going to be super, super important. In between the small daily cycle and the big yearly cycle, there are going to be a number of other cycles. For example, there might be a monthly cycle where spring is the start of the month when you're planning how you're going to use your budget and preparing your schedule for the rest of the month so you have a good idea of what's coming up. Summer is the first half of the month when you are working really hard on everything that you've planned at the start of the month. And then fall is the second half of the month when things are winding down. You're sort of taking everything that you accomplished in the first half and folding it into how your life works now. And then maybe at the end of the month, you devote a whole weekend where you can just do nothing and you can fully relax and it's totally calm and you can rest and recuperate so that at the start of the next month, you are ready again to start planting those seeds. By honoring both the big and the little cycles, we are going to get a lot of miniature rests, non-negotiable miniature winters that will enable us to have a sustainable productivity cycle within our own lives. I will say when I'm honoring both my small and my large cycles, I often try to get at least one large break per year where I just take time off from everything. I spent the last 4 years not getting a long sustained break from everything that I was doing because I was in grad school and I was doing classes every single semester for 3 years. And then I immediately started my YouTube channel and I wanted to grow that as quickly as possible, obviously. So I did not honor winter and I was sick and irritable and burnt out all the time. But this past May, at the end of May, right, the end of my semester, the end of May, I took a long break off from both YouTube and from work. I took 2 weeks off and just had a very relaxing 2 weeks. We did a road trip. It was super fun. We were deciding day to day what we wanted to do, and we didn't have any expectations on us from anybody else. It was just fully resting, fully relaxing, and I'm back, baby. I feel good. It's springtime in my heart, even though it is literally summer when this video is going up. But you get me. It's my time to start planting the seeds for what I'm going to be doing next because I got a true rest, a true winter break. So definitely try to honor both your big and small cycles, and then at least once a year, try to take a long sustained break, as long as you can manage, from everything that is a real serious responsibility to you, if possible.
Remember, the upper limit of your productivity is not measured by how many hours you have in a day. It is measured by how many hours you can devote to your priorities and goals without burning out. Just as there is no summer without winter, there can be no productivity without rest. Let me know down in the comments below what your personal productivity cycles are. I would love to know. If you liked this video, you might like the video right here next to my head on soft productivity, where you can learn more about how to be productive and kind to yourself at the same time. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one.